The crackling fireplace cast a warm glow over the room as we gathered around the dining table. The air was filled with the comforting scent of a home-cooked meal. Sarah, David's mother, was in her element, recounting tales from their family's past. Her eyes sparkled with nostalgia as she painted vivid pictures of their adventures and misadventures. As the stories flowed, one in particular snagged my attention. It was about a quaint little town where Sarah had spent her early years. She described the surroundings in such detail that I felt as if I could almost picture myself walking through the cobbled streets and bustling markets. But what struck me was the mention of a maternity clinic that no longer existed. She explained how that clinic held a special place in her heart because it was where David had been born. I tried to shake off the strange feeling that washed over me, chalking it up to mere curiosity, yet the words maternity clinic lingered like an unfinished puzzle, waiting for the missing piece to make sense of it all. That night, as I lay in bed beside David, I couldn't shake off the unsettling thoughts. My mind was like a detective's board, with threads of information pinned up, connecting points that seemed too coincidental to ignore. Sarah's story didn't align with what I knew about David's birth, and that discrepancy gnawed at me, igniting a fire of curiosity that I couldn't ignore. Little did I know that this innocent conversation would be the catalyst for an emotional journey that would reshape my understanding of family and identity. The days following that fateful conversation felt like a blur as I delved into the rabbit hole of our family history. Late nights turned into early mornings, and my thoughts became consumed by the need to uncover the truth. Photo albums that were once buried in the back of closets became my companions. Each picture held a piece of the puzzle, a clue waiting to be deciphered. I meticulously examined the faces, the dates, the locations, searching for any inconsistency that could confirm or debunk my suspicions. I reached out to distant relatives, some of whom I'd never spoken to before, hoping they could shed light on the past. Awkward phone calls turned into conversations as I probed gently, trying to extract information without revealing my underlying motive. The more I dug, the more tangled the web of secrets became. Family members shared snippets of stories that painted a different picture from what I'd grown up believing. Hushed conversations and hesitations in their voices hinted at hidden truths like shadows lurking just beyond my grasp. Each night, as I closed my eyes, my mind became a swirl of timelines and faces, my heart heavy with the weight of the unknown. Doubt crept in, threatening to overshadow my relationship with David and the life we had built together. The unraveling thread had become a complex tapestry of emotions, and I was determined to untangle it, no matter how unsettling the truth might be. Whispers of doubt became constant companions as I continued to piece together the fragments of our family history. The more I uncovered, the stronger the suspicion grew that there was something fundamentally different about David's origins. I started to notice the inconsistencies like breadcrumbs leading me down an unexpected path. Birth certificates that didn't align with the stories I'd heard, vague responses from relatives that hinted at concealed truths, and the subtle tension that lingered whenever the topic of David's birth arose. All of these pieces wove a narrative that contradicted the version of reality I had known. There were moments when I questioned my own sanity, wondering if I was overanalyzing innocent stories or seeing connections that didn't exist. The thought that Sarah might also be my birth mother seemed absurd and surreal, like a plot twist from a melodramatic movie. Despite the internal turmoil, I pressed on. I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that I was onto something significant. The unraveling thread had transformed into a full-blown investigation, and I was determined to follow it wherever it led, even if it meant confronting truths that could shatter the very foundation of my identity and family. The weight of the revelations I had uncovered was becoming unbearable. It was time to confront Sarah, to unravel the truth from the one person who held the key to the mystery that had consumed me for weeks. Sitting in her cozy living room, surrounded by familiar family photos and cherished heirlooms, I took a deep breath and broached the subject delicately. I could see the surprise and unease in her eyes as I tentatively shared my findings and suspicions. At first, Sarah's expression was a mixture of shock and confusion. I could tell that my revelation had caught her off guard, and the silence in the room was palpable. But as the moments passed, Her features softened, and her gaze turned inward as if she was grappling with her own memories and emotions. Tears welled up in her eyes as she finally spoke. Her voice trembled as she confirmed what I had suspected, that she was indeed my birth mother. The room seemed to hold its breath as she recounted the difficult circumstances that had led her to make the heart-wrenching decision to give me up for adoption. In that moment, the world seemed to stand still. The words hung heavy in the air, the truth finally laid bare between us. I couldn't deny the mix of emotions that surged within me. Relief at finally uncovering the truth, pain at the years lost without knowing my real origins, and a strange sense of gratitude for Sarah's bravery in sharing her past. As we sat there, two women connected by blood and shared history, I realized that this conversation marked the beginning of a new chapter in our relationship, one defined by honesty, understanding, and the complex journey of coming to terms with a truth that had long been hidden. The truth hung in the air between us, a fragile bridge connecting our pasts. Sarah's story poured out like a river that had been dammed for too long. She spoke of the struggles she faced as a young, unmarried woman in a society that frowned upon such circumstances. The maternity clinic she had mentioned before held deeper significance. It was the place where she had given birth to both David and me. With each word she spoke, I felt a mixture of emotions swirling within me. Understanding replaced confusion. Empathy replaced judgment. Sarah's decision had been born out of love and sacrifice, the desire to give both David and me the best possible chance in life. She shared the pain of letting me go, the tears she had shed in private moments, and the longing she'd carried in her heart over the years. It was a story of resilience, of a woman who had made a difficult choice for the sake of her children's futures. As the conversation unfolded, I couldn't help but feel a deep bond forming between us. Sarah was no longer just my mother-in-law. She was a part of my history, an integral piece of my identity. The years of unknowingly sharing a family with her, the missed opportunities to connect, and the unspoken similarities that had always existed suddenly became tangible. In that moment, I realized that the journey of uncovering the truth was not just about unraveling the past, but about weaving the threads of our lives into a new tapestry of understanding and acceptance. The room felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted, leaving space for a newfound connection between two women who were, after all, bound by blood. The days following the revelation were a whirlwind of emotions. The truth that had once seemed like an elusive specter was now an undeniable reality, shaping my perception of the world around me. David stood by my side throughout, his unwavering support a steady anchor in the storm of emotions. Accepting the truth wasn't without its challenges. The foundation of my identity had shifted, and I found myself grappling with a mix of emotions: gratitude for finally knowing the truth, sadness for the years lost without my birth mother, and a profound sense of connection to Sarah that I hadn't anticipated. But the most powerful emotion was love, a love that transcended labels and roles. Sarah was no longer just a mother-in-law. She was my birth mother, a woman who had made a heart-wrenching choice out of love for her children. Our relationship transformed, evolving from friendly conversations to something deeper and more profound. David and I grew closer as well. The journey had tested the strength of our bond, and together we navigated the uncharted waters of this new reality. Our shared experiences, once confined to the realm of marriage, now extended to encompass a complex tapestry of family ties. As time passed, the initial shock and turmoil began to subside, giving way to a sense of peace and acceptance. The past could not be changed, but the present was ours to shape. The threads of truth that had unraveled our lives were now being carefully rewoven, creating a new narrative, one built on honesty, understanding, and an even stronger sense of unity. In the midst of it all, I realized that life had a way of surprising us, of revealing hidden connections that we could never have anticipated. The journey of discovering my true lineage had been unexpected, challenging, and at times painful, but it had also brought an unexpected depth and richness to my relationships that I wouldn't trade for anything. With the truth now out in the open, our family dynamics took on a new dimension. Sarah was no longer just David's mother or my birth mother. She was both, a unique blend of roles that required careful navigation. The delicate balance between being a mother-in-law and a birth mother was a territory uncharted for all of us. There were moments of awkwardness when the weight of this newfound reality hung in the air like an unspoken question. Family gatherings took on a different energy as we adjusted to the new roles we had in each other's lives. Sarah's presence felt both familiar and foreign, like a puzzle piece that had finally found its place but needed time to settle. Conversations shifted as well. We delved into stories from the past, sharing anecdotes that we had missed out on all those years. The awkwardness gradually gave way to laughter and genuine connections as we discovered commonalities and shared experiences that had been hidden beneath the surface. But perhaps the most rewarding aspect was the mutual understanding that developed between Sarah and me. We could now empathize with each other on a level that transcended the typical mother-in-law relationship. The challenges she had faced, the sacrifices she had made, and the complex emotions she'd navigated were no longer distant stories. They were part of my own narrative. As time passed, the initial discomfort faded, replaced by a sense of unity and solidarity. We had embarked on a unique journey together, one that had brought us closer and reshaped our relationships in unexpected ways. While the road had been bumpy at times, the destination was a place of deeper connection, strengthened bonds, and a shared history that none of us could have foreseen. As the initial shock and adjustments of our new reality settled, we found ourselves standing at the threshold of a unified future. The threads of truth that had unraveled our lives were now woven back together into a tapestry that told a more complete story. The scars of the past had transformed into marks of resilience, serving as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of love. Our relationships had weathered the storm of revelation and emerged stronger on the other side. The journey had been complex and emotional, but it had also brought about a profound sense of healing and understanding. Sarah and I continued to forge a deeper bond. She had become a confidant, someone who understood the intricacies of my journey in a way that no one else could. The shared history between us was a foundation upon which we could build an unbreakable connection. David and I also found a renewed sense of unity. Our marriage had withstood the challenges of discovery, and the process had brought us even closer. We faced the future together with a newfound appreciation for the depth and complexity of family ties. Our extended family, too, had adjusted to the new reality. What might have initially seemed like a disruption had become an opportunity for growth and understanding. The way we interacted, shared stories, and celebrated milestones had all evolved infused with the knowledge of our shared lineage. Looking back on the journey, I realized that while the truth had been painful to uncover, it had ultimately brought us to a place of authenticity and acceptance. Our lives were now shaped by a deeper awareness of our connections and a shared history that was uniquely ours. As I stood at the end of this transformative journey, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The unraveling thread had led me through a labyrinth of emotions and revelations, but it had also brought me to a place of profound love and unity. A place where the past, present, and future were intertwined in a beautifully complex tapestry of life.